To other news now, devastating images coming out of Los Angeles County today. Many neighborhoods have been wiped out as crews try to contain at least 5 major wildfires. Let's take a look at the most current map. Now, the 2 largest fires, the Palisades and the Eaton, are still 0% contained. Evacuation orders are impacting nearly 180,000 residents now. 5 people have been reported dead, but officials say that number is likely to rise. Today, President Biden promised more resources to combat the historic disaster.
The federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property.
Firefighters began to slow the spread of the fast-moving flames today after the hurricane-force winds diminished, and crews were able to knock down a major threat that broke out Wednesday evening in the Hollywood Hills. By morning, they had lifted an evacuation order from the Sunset Fire. But in the Pacific Palisades, thousands of structures have been destroyed. In the biggest blaze, it is scorching the area between Malibu and Santa Monica. Entire blocks have been burned to the ground. Next to them, some homes were spared. It is the most destructive fire to ever hit Los Angeles County. The Eaton fire, meantime, in the Northeast is the second largest one burning right now. It is currently 0% contained and has left a trail of destruction in its path. That's where we find our Aaron Collins this evening in Altadena neighborhood. Aaron, what I'm seeing behind you is an unbelievably horrific, apocalyptic scenes, essentially, where you are today. Walk us through it all.
Yeah, Angie, we're basically on a long commercial street here in Altadena, and as you drive down the street, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around what you're seeing. I've been to a lot of fire zones, and you see a lot of destruction, but it's really everywhere here. You know, block after block, just buildings completely leveled, still flames coming out of many. You can see behind me there's a burnt-out vehicle and what used to be an apartment building. So several people's homes obviously no longer there. And that's the story as you drive through here. The officials are saying at least 4,000 structures destroyed or damaged by the Eaton fire. So you can just imagine that. 4,000 structures. That's businesses, that's homes, that's schools, that's everything. It's hard to wrap your head around. And of course the impact that's going to have is multiplied because this is just one fire. I heard you mentioning the Palisades fire. We were there yesterday, and it's just as devastating on the other side of Los Angeles. And of course we were, through that Sunset fire zone today too. Luckily no structures damaged there, but people were forced to evacuate the area last night. Thankfully they're back today, but as we were going through that area, crews coming through, putting out hot spots. So they're not out of the woods there yet either. So as we sort of sit here and watch crews and people return into this area, what we're starting to hear from officials is that we're not out of the woods yet, right? We're expecting those winds to perhaps pick up again this evening, those Santa Ana winds, and that's really what's fueling this fire, or these fires, and causing all of this damage.
Yeah, indeed, as you mentioned there, the wind, it is very dry. There's no rain that's coming around in the forecast here, so it's just, some have described it as just pure kindling. In your travels there, you've also been speaking to people who are finally able to return to their homes. Talk to us about what they're telling you.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a couple anecdotes from just one street. We spoke to one gentleman, and he didn't want to talk to us on camera. He was sifting through what was left of his house, and he was pulling out silverware that was a family heirloom and also part of an insurance claim now, right? He's got no home to go back to, 64 years old, and was planning to retire. Now is going to have to work a little harder. And as you move down this one street, house after house after house leveled, right? Nothing left. And then, sort of randomly, there'll be a house that's still standing. It's hard to make sense of it. And we spoke to one of the people that was there too. They stuck around, they did their best to sort of defend their house, but the houses on either side went up in flames. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. When I spoke to that gentleman, he talked to me a little bit about the fact that he couldn't really make sense of it. He didn't really have a lot to add. He was just dumbfounded. He was really shocked, but it gives you a sense of sort of the shock and the general feeling that's going on in the residential neighborhoods here, where people are trying to figure out either why me or why not me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Erin, before I let you go, your impression here as you and the crew are out there covering all of this, as you've done, many times before, but so many people are describing this as, well, they don't have words.
Well, they don't. The people we're talking to don't have words. We can start to put some numbers on it, right? Mm-hmm. So the structures and the lost lives, that's starting to add up. But we do know that this is the most devastating fire event that this city has ever experienced. And having been down in this part of the world covering fires before, just north of here, that's kind of hard to wrap your head around because you've seen destruction in this area before. I think the difference here is there's so many fires just ringing the city and all of them burning at the same time. It's really going to be difficult for this community to recover.
Erin, we appreciate the work that you and the team are doing out there. CBC's Erin Collins for us in Altadena, California tonight. Thanks, Erin. All right, Martha Gulati joins us now, Canadian living in Los Angeles. She was given notice to evacuate less than 24 hours ago. She joins us now as she has returned home. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Martha, how are you doing? How's your home? How's your family?
Oh, well, thank you. We're doing fine. You can see I'm in my home right now, and we were able to return. We are definitely luckier here, the ones who were facing the Sunset Fire, than the people down in the Palisades or the people in the Pasadena where the Eaton fire is. And there's actually just a new fire that has jumped and started called the Kenneth fire. So we are very lucky. Our fire seems to be getting 50% control, the Sunset Fire, but we were allowed to return home. And right now the biggest issue is there's a lot of smoke. We're wearing N95 masks outside. It's really unsafe to not wear them.
How is it inside the home? Like, can you smell the smoke there? Is the air heavy?
It's a little bit in our house, but not too bad. I've done everything that people told me to do, that you're to put wet towels at the door to keep any air from coming in, from the little places it might come through. Our house is quite well sealed though, so we're lucky in that respect. But the minute you walk outside, you feel like you still feel like you're walking a bit through a fire because there's stuff falling on you. Probably it's just soot, I guess. And then additionally, it's really thick air right now.
Yeah, just incredible. You're also are letting our viewers know you're a cardiologist at one of LA's hospitals there. You've been working throughout this emergency. Talk to us as well in terms of who you've been encountering in the ER, what you've been hearing from other people.
Yeah, so I'm a cardiologist. I actually haven't been to the ER, to be honest with you. So, but we are, we've actually had to slow down elective procedures in our hospital today, and tomorrow is the intention to slow down a little bit because our hospital is actually completely full. At the same point, a lot of our outpatients are not coming in, meaning I actually have clinic tomorrow, and apparently everybody's canceled aside from 3 patients. So I'll come in for those 3 patients, but I understand, especially if you have heart disease, we're trying to advise people not to go out and have limited exposure. But the other issue for us is the heart attacks are going to arise with this kind of air quality and the stress that everybody is going through right now.
And of course, you and your family having gone through that as well. Now, at least as you mentioned, you're lucky to have come back to your home. What are you watching for? As you say, you're back, but I'm sure you're sort of a bit on pins and needles here as things could change on a dime.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of those strange people in LA who doesn't have a car. So we actually had to rent a car to evacuate, which was the delay for us actually leaving home, was finding a car. We've kept the car at least until Saturday, just in case we need it and need to evacuate. And even though we're home, literally everything we packed is still at the very front door, ready for us to grab and leave the house, because the winds are still shifting, they're still strong. And the other issue is the fire isn't completely out. It's 50% contained, but there's these emerging fires. And if this fire loses control, yes, we're going to have to leave. So I think nobody's very comfortable. My neighborhood's feeling a little bit happier. I live in a neighborhood called Sunset Square, just under Runyon Canyon. And we're all thinking, since our neighborhood is fine, that we need to do things to volunteer. And so we're all putting together things for other and rescue centers so that people that lose everything, which has been a fair amount of people, that we can provide them with things we have in our own home that they literally have lost everything and won't have.
Well, indeed, and as you say, in times of tragedy, people come together to help and support each other, as you and so many in the neighborhood are doing. Martha, we wish you and your family well, the community out there, and really appreciate you giving us your time today. Martha Gulati for us, a Canadian living in Los Angeles. Thank you again, Martha.
You're welcome.